Welcome, friends and foes, survivors and killers. Let's talk about the Twins change, currently on the PTB. I know this isn't the Twins lore video that I'm currently working on at the moment. That is coming, don't you worry. But I felt like I needed to address this now, since the Twins are such an infrequently played killer that I'm probably one of the few Twins mains with a big enough platform to make a video like this and have anyone listen to it. And given how small my channel is in the grand scheme of things, that's really saying much about how unpopular the Twins are. At first glance, it looks like they've been buffed in a couple of places. Charlotte regaining immediate camera control when you switch back to her is quite nice, although weird isn't really a buff, because you still can't do anything in the 2-second stun window anyway. The iridescent add-on buffs are also a very welcome change, especially Eerie Pendant, which was kind of a meme for the longest time, but is now actually pretty scary. But I'm here to talk about the very weird and kind of unclear Victor change, relating to the stun cooldown and the kick window when the survivors can crush Victor after a pounce. According to the initial patch outline, Victor's kick window is going to be extended from 3 to 5 seconds, when he successfully downs a survivor using his pounce. This nerf kinda came out of nowhere and would be a pretty substantial nerf to Victor's snowballing potential, since it means survivors can rush up to him and kick him from much further away after he gets a down. Due to a kick only taking 0.35 seconds, this means a survivor who's over 18 meters away, which is, by the way, longer than Deathslinger's maximum range, can run up and kick Victor after a down without anything you can do about it. Let's just say, I'm not the biggest fan of it. First of all, the Twins are not the only snowballing slugging killer. They're not even the best at it. Not by a substantial margin. Oni, Nurse, Blight, Leatherface, Myers, Huntress and Plague also often win by snowballing consecutive downs in a short space of time. In effect, slugging the entire team in one go just like Victor can do, and in many cases, much more efficiently. A lot of these killers can either do so from healthy using instant down abilities, or can use low downtime consecutive attacks like Corrupt Purge, Lethal Rushes or Blink attacks to take down multiple survivors quickly, without much the survivor can really do about it if the killer is playing perfectly and chooses their moment well. The Twins don't have those luxuries. Victor can't down a survivor from healthy on his own, Charlotte has to injure them first. And there's a 3-second window where Victor can be kicked by another survivor after securing a down and effectively reset the Twins' player's progress back to 0. With the sole exception of Huntress, the other slugging killers can also leverage Infectious Fright extremely well to translate one down survivor into knowing the location of more, and creating a chain of downs that way, Nurse and Oni being the most commonly known Infectious Fright users. Due to having no terror radius, Victor can't use Infectious Fright to chain downs together, and since he has to track survivors' movements through blood trails, he can't even see scratch marks to find his next target. So if he wants to chain downs together and slug everyone, survivors need to be close enough to him to find him quick, for them to be able to be found quickly, before the original slugs can be recovered and picked up, but not so close that they can kick him and reset him after he secures a single down. So, why do the Twins need such drastic punishment on their snowballing, when stronger killers than them like Nurse and Oni don't have anywhere near those restrictions? The answer is very simple. Because stopping the Twins from snowballing, when they're playing perfectly, requires a lot of teamwork. Survivors need to have the presence of mind to know how far to be away from Victor and the person he just downed, have the quick thinking to get into position for a kick, and the discipline to reset frequently with heals so that Victor can't threaten a down. And while Cyber Friends groups can definitely pull this off without a hitch, solo survivors can have a really hard time dealing with the Twins, because there'll always be one guy who accidentally throws a pebble instead of kicking Victor because he fat-fingered his keyboard, and that could just lose your whole team the game. Some window to punish Victor after securing a down to stop his snowballing is fine, and it's a trick that players on live servers, even solo queue players, have already started to pick up on. I'm fine with it. It's a good counter that good players have developed to the Twins player making good plays. I like it, it's healthy, I got no problem with it. The problem comes when the window becomes too forgiving. We take into account that the Twins player has done every single thing you could ask them to do. They first injured their target, presumably with Charlotte, Then they've managed to secure a second hit and down them. For any other killer, that would be a job well done. You've earned your down, good job you. But for the twins that isn't good enough, because you also have to contend with other survivors interfering by kicking Victor and healing up the person that you've just downed, while you footslog over with Charlotte to get the pickup. Interference that you literally have no way to counter or interact with whatsoever. If the survivor is using an exhaustion perk or a post-hit speed boost to get far away from Charlotte, or their rescuer has a medkit or we're gonna live forever or something, there's a very real chance you won't get the pickup, because the survivor will get up before you can reach them. In effect, even though you played perfectly, you've accomplished nothing. The twins are an unforgiving killer to play against, but they are also in many ways an unforgiving killer to play. Every stage of their power can be interacted with very cleanly by the survivors if they use terrain, situational awareness, and each other to exploit Victor's limitations. Lockers at a distance, staying healthy, staying in pairs, crouching behind waist-high blockers like windows or drop pallets to force Victor to go round them and waste his own time trying to mind game you out. Crouch walk to hide yourself from his detection, kick him after any pounce you can, hit or miss. Know when it's smart to babysit Victor, when he's attached to you, and when it's best to let him go. The twins are many things, but uncounterable is not one of them, and making an already unforgiving killer to play even less forgiving in a way that the most skilled twins have no way to stop, I just don't see why it was needed. Which is why I was overjoyed when yesterday's patch notes came out in full and it revealed that Victor's kick cooldown nerf was being applied to his missed pounces, not his hit ones. That is a fine and welcome change in my opinion. It allows survivors to better punish bad twins players who miss pounces without hurting a twins player who plays perfectly and lands every single pounce. This would be especially good since missed pounces often send Victor flying straight past the survivor, meaning the survivor would get more time to find out where Victor landed, get there and complete the 0.35 second kick animation before the killer regains control. So I calmed down a bit. Order was restored. A nerf that wouldn't affect me that much if I played well, and would encourage me to play better, was coming along with a series of smallish buffs. I was pretty happy. Then I watched Otzdarva's stream, summarising the PTB changes, and saw this.
Like, imagine that there's a gen about to pop, and I down knees. Like, what, dude? That's just you standing still for 5 seconds! Oh, you use your power successfully? Fuck you! 5 second fucking cooldown. You get DS'd! You get fucking DS for downing a survivor!
Victor being locked out of control for 5 seconds after his pounce hits. I don't even know what to say about this that I haven't already said. But what I will say is, if other killers were designed like this, if other killers were basically banned from snowballing effectively because survivors don't like it, the game would be really different. The nurse or the blight wouldn't be able to use their mobility tools again after downing someone until they pick them up and put them on a hook. Because if you could do that, then you could be slugging, and slugging is bad and evil. Oni would use up all his power and instantly go into full fatigue when he downed someone with his power, because if he didn't, that would be slugging, and slugging is bad and evil. When Huntress downs someone with a hatchet, she'd instantly run out of hatchets, she'd drop all her other ones and have to go and reload. Because if you leave one person on the ground to snowball off their friend who's out of position, you're slugging, and slugging is bad and evil. I can only hope this is a bug, a relic of an old dev build maybe, for the game that slipped through onto the PTB, and that the patch notes applying Victor's penalty to failed downs rather than successful ones was the change the devs were aiming for. Maybe it was a typo on one of the sets of patch notes we were given, maybe it was a bug on the PTB. I don't know, and I still don't know. So I decided to reach out to Behaviour and I've had no response whatsoever. Nothing. Radio silence on whether this is the twins change as a result of a bug or a typo. I can't begin to tell you how infuriating that is when the PTB is usually only up for a short period of time anyway. The window to get changed is even less than that, and the devs are apparently always looking for feedback, but how are we supposed to give meaningful feedback if we don't know what's a bug and what isn't? Well, here's my feedback now. The twins on the PTB right now feel terrible to play, because you're just punished way too hard for playing your killer properly. If this wasn't the intended nerf to them, and it's supposed to be a punishment for missing your pounce, then that's great. Other than transparency about the nature of the bug, I have no complaints. But if that was the intended nerf for them, then this can't be allowed to go live. It simply can't. It just makes playing them an absolute chore, to the point that you don't want to use their power in the chase where it's supposed to be used. And that's for two reasons. A, the window to kick you is so huge that any survivor in the same zip code as your target can get to you, meaning they don't have to position intelligently to punish you for correctly using your power. And B, even if they don't kick you, you just can't do anything for 5 whole seconds. As Ott said, it's like being hit with Decisive Strike for outplaying and downing a survivor to the best of your ability, even if you have no intention to slug. It's a farce, it's a joke. The worst bit comes if you're trying to not slug and you down a survivor with Victor and try to switch back to Charlotte, because you have a 5-second stun after Victor lands his pounce, followed by a 2-second stun turning back to Charlotte. You are stunned for 7 seconds for trying not to slug. It feels awful to play with, like the game and the developers who balance it are actively trying to tell you to play something else. Or just to use Victor to camp with, since these changes don't do anything to hurt camping Victor in the slightest, even though that's undoubtedly the most annoying way to play the twins, and the way I would love to see fixed. And fixing that wouldn't even be too hard to do. A simple mechanic would be all you'd need to fix the issue of camping twins, largely for good. Whenever Charlotte hooks a survivor within 16 meters of an idle Victor, he instantly resets and returns to Charlotte. That would be the best change the twins could ever get. It stops Victor from being left under hooks to camp them, and it would be a buff to an aggressive chasing style of twins, because Charlotte could always have Victor on her, ready to deploy in a chase, without having him waiting around where he got his last down. It would make the twins feel a lot better to play and play against. I can't tell you just how much I want to see a change like this. And if you want to nerf Victor's snowballing, there are ways you can do that without just making the twins bad. You can do it by giving the survivors more information to make the right play. Maybe when Victor gets a down on someone, other survivors can see his aura for as long as he's near a downed survivor, so they can make an informed decision whether to run out and risk a kick, or to try and hide or make distance so that he can't find them. That would be a genuinely skill-testing nerf for the twins that would help solo queuers in making the right play against a snowballing Victor without making Victor suck, rather than just serving the right play to a survivor on a silver platter at the cost of the twins. It would give them the tools to make the right play and leave the initiative to make it still up to them. You know, the whole give a man a fish, he gets to eat the fish, teach a man to fish and he kicks Victor, I don't know. But that's ultimately what I want to see. Intelligent changes to the twins that promote both the killer and the survivor to play skillfully, and for the outcome of chases and games to reflect the wit and wisdom of both sides. If this change does apply to successful hits as intended, it does the opposite. It handholds bad survivors who consistently miss position into being able to outplay a twins, even if the twins player plays perfectly. And it does it in the most ugly way that just makes the twins feel awful to play. It almost feels insulting to be slapped in the face and told, no, don't be mean to the poor baby survivor. All they did was make several consistent back-to-back mistakes. Why are you punishing them by outplaying them and downing them? How rude of you. Naughty twins. 5-second stun. I know nobody else is really going to care about this because, let's be real, it's the twins. Nobody gives a fuck about the twins, but I'd appreciate it if this feedback made its way to behaviour somewhere. Maybe a bigger creator, or someone who knows someone on the community feedback team could signal boost this. I'd be indebted to you if you did, because I love these killers and I don't want to see them die. Thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you for the Twins lore video. Ta-ta for now. Oh, and Otz, thank you for letting me use that clip.